Alrighty, let me look at the camera. Here we are back in the car. I want to go over the Gabby Petito American Murder Netflix docuseries. Really good. 3 episodes. We've gone over episode 1. Let's go over 2 and 3. I want to watch all these with you before I create another big video for my other channel. Now, I'm sorry I have to do it this way. In order to make it past YouTube and Netflix, for them to consider it fair use, I have to talk over, add a lot of commentary. I put my MacBook way back there, but I want to watch it with you guys. I finished watching all 3 episodes. Maybe you have, maybe you just want to hear me talk about it. It really made me cry last night, especially when we get to the part when Gabby is found. There's a lot we learn in episodes 2 and 3. I love the timeline. I love the fact that Gabby's family participated in this. I don't want to edit this, so I'm just going to be messing with my hair and drinking and everything. Drinking iced energy. So let's start watching it. Gabby's family participated in this. This is their documentary. They have a lot of behind the scenes footage. It's very, very good. Let's try and knock out episodes 2 and 3 and be done. We can watch it together. We can talk about it. I will try. I have to add music as well. I'll try and see as low as the volume I can make it for it to still be considered fair use, transformed by Netflix and YouTube. So this is basically episode 2. Where is Gabby?
Hello, and good morning.
We've seen that.
It is really nice and sunny today. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, but it rained all afternoon yesterday.
That's one of the videos that made it public. Oh, and this one too, where it's raining in the tent and Gabby is trying to hold the tent back. I know it. I know it's hard to see. Hopefully you're watching this on a big screen TV.
Me and Brian just got up and got ready, made the bed in the tent, set up. Brian's stretching, doing some morning yoga.
I'm watching it in my rear view mirror too.
He ate breakfast already, but I am about to come in the van and make some yogurt.
So there she flashes to Brian, and he's like, breakfast time, but he's always a little bit awkward.
Incident, Gabby contacted me and said that Brian was going to be flying home to empty out a storage unit.
So after Moab, that body cam.
Gabby stayed at a hotel in Utah working on the YouTube video.
So Brian flies home, Gabby's staying in a hotel. I wish she could have just broken up with him then. But she was working on that beautiful YouTube video. It's up to 7 million views now. It had only had 500 views when she published it. It was really good. It was just over 8 minutes. And she's great. She has a great eye for composition. Brian can climb any tree, she says.
I believe one of the hardest things to do is walk away from somebody you love.
That's Rose, her best friend.
I think that's a big reason she stayed, was because she did love him. And she didn't like the way he treated her, but she thought she could fix him.
Gabby thought she could fix Brian. That's what I talked about in episode 1. I know, I've been there in an abusive relationship. And I did. I thought my love could somehow transform him. And I was just naive and young in my 20s.
Gabby was
like
most
Gabby.
certainly my first love.
Oh, here's
But just
the
the
first
time
love.
that we were together just wasn't right for the two of us.
The Jackson guy.
We dated for a year before she dated Brian.
They dated for
And
a
I
year.
noticed on social media that they were dating.
So Jackson
They were
saw
a little bit of ways into their
that they
trip.
were dating.
It definitely was a very eye-opening experience for me because that was something that we spoke about wanting to
It's
do
on my
together.
screen.
Buying a van and traveling the country.
So Gabby had spoken
Seeing
with
her
Jackson.
being all happy and smiley and laughy on videos and stuff like that.
Gabby talked with Jackson, her ex, about buying a van and
like,
traveling.
dang, that was supposed to be us.
And Jackson's like, that should have
But
been
I was
us.
still super happy for her because I knew that that's what she wanted to do.
But he's saying he was still happy
On
for
August
Gabby when
22nd,
she went with Brian.
I got a text from Gabby.
August 22nd, days before her murder,
You want to hear from.
she's
I would
texting
really love
Jackson.
to talk to you. I'm only alone until tomorrow.
My mind started racing. I was like, hey, I'd love to be able to talk to you. It's been a while. It'd be nice to catch up.
So Jackson
And
wanted
I
to
called
talk to her.
A lot of what we talked about was just catching up, how life was going for her, how life was going for me. It was just real late in the evening whenever we got to the end of the phone call. I got the vibe that she may have still needed somebody to talk to after we hung up. So I was like, hey, if you do need to talk again, let me know. It's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. And during that time is when it was, she like kind of hinted at the fact that they had kind of gotten in an argument a little bit.
Yeah.
She's like, I have a plan. I think I want to leave him.
Gabby had a plan. She wanted to
I'm gonna
leave
do
Brian.
it. I have to figure out when to do it.
To do it, I have to figure out when to do it. So she was reaching out to her ex,
And that's when I
Jackson.
was kind of like, well, hey, well, what are you talking about?
He's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean
From the
you have a
sound of her
plan?
voice and the way she was saying it, I think that she like wasn't sure of what he would do,
Right.
or what he could do.
Gabby wasn't sure how
I think
Brian
she
would
was
react.
wanting to get away.
She wanted
but
to
just
get
didn't
away.
know how to do it.
And she did know how
The
to do
fact
it.
that she
A lot
reached
of
out
people
to
don't.
me kind of told me that, like, hey, maybe she feels safe talking to you, or maybe she felt like you were that I was the only person that would understand, or
Yeah.
I was the only person that might want to even listen at all.
So she,
And I just kind of was making sure that she knew, like, be very careful.
yeah, Jackson knew it was a transition time. People are like, why didn't he reach out to anyone? Okay, August 27th, 2021. So this is getting closer to, I think the next day she was murdered, or this day. We will see, but I love their timeline. It really
August 27th,
helps us
a few
understand.
days after her phone call, Gabby had Snapchatted me. Like,
So
hey, I'm
Gabby
Jackson Hole,
Snapchatted
and it reminded me of
Jackson.
you.
And she was in Jackson Hole, reminded her of him. Now they're going to get into this argument, Brian and Gabby, over this restaurant chicken that made Gabby sick, and it was the impetus for so much that happened. So Gabby's saying, ask for the check and tell her that the smell made me sick. I don't know, the chicken wasn't right. I actually don't feel good. Gonna be a minute. Maybe she was in the bathroom. And Brian said, okay, I got the check. Should I wait for you? And she's like, I don't want to pay for food that made me sick. Okay, I'll just wait for you then, Brian said. So there was some kind of brouhaha
Later in the day,
over this Mary
I had gotten a
Piglet's
phone call
food,
from
I
her.
guess.
I was at work and was unable to answer it.
So Jackson missed her phone call. That would have been the last one. He's going to really regret this. He's like, if I could have gotten Gabby's phone call, you know. Okay, 2:11 p.m. This is August 27th. Gabby and Brian go to that Whole Foods. This is the last footage. I know it's hard to see. Sorry, I have to make it this small. The last footage of Gabby and Brian, or last footage of Gabby, rather, ever. And that's the part. And I remember going over this footage. There's this other guy I think was checking Gabby out. Last known footage of Gabby Petito, and she walks out, and it's so difficult to witness. But Jackson has
I
regrets.
reached out to Gabby. I asked her how her and Brian were doing.
Okay, her mom had reached out
I
to
was
her.
concerned about her since Moab.
Yeah, she was worried about
I
her
said, I'm
since that
fine.
Moab
I convinced
stopped.
Brian to go camp out in the woods so I can have the van to myself.
So
It's
Gabby's
what he wants to do anyway.
breaking
I
away.
don't care. He
from
said
Brian.
I could have the van if I paid him.
I could have the van if I paid
said,
him.
are you
Brian
guys
said.
breaking up?
Are you guys
Gabby
breaking
said
up?
no.
Gabby said
I
no.
just said I could make more money as a solo female van lifer.
I just said I could make more money as a solo
driving
female
to a
van
campsite
lifer.
now.
Oh my goodness. I'm driving to a campsite now. And I think this was still Gabby texting her mom, not Brian pretending to be Gabby. I think this is the last text. And with Gabby telling Brian that, of course, no victim shaming or blaming. But that might have made Brian go, oh. I don't know if he found the text to Jackson, that, you know, Gabby's ex-boyfriend. But, this was it. This was the end. And then Brian just lost it. And I'm sure that's when he strangled her and the blunt force trauma happened. But she knew she could make it on her own. And unfortunately, August 28th, now we're on the next day. This was a Friday, I do believe. It's just very sad. Oh, the photos Brian's taking. He's taking all these photos of like animal bones and stuff, which is really weird. Now, August 29th.
And I wanted to attend a church service.
Oh, this woman who had the Bible.
In the summer, there is a 5 p.m. service in Grand Teton National
That's so
Park.
cool. They have a 5 p.m. church service in Grand Teton.
I decided to go into the park.
Her name is Norma Jean.
after I'd left the church
She was going in the park to church
I was
service.
exiting the park, and
she's gonna
that's
see
when
Brian.
I noticed the young man alone, hitchhiking. He looked like maybe he had been backpacking or walking.
She saw Brian backpacking or walking or something, and she gave him a ride. She says he's going to smell. The part that gets me is when her Bible fell on him.
He had asked if I would take him to Jackson. I said, I'm not going that way. I'm going north. He said, well, can you at least take me down to Spread Creek's campsite?
So he's going to Spread Creek's campsite.
My fiance is working on our blog, and she's in the van. And I said, sure, I'll take you down that far. It was maybe a 10-minute drive.
He's pretending Gabby's still alive. Fiance
His
working on the
energy
blog.
was a typical young person. He appeared to me to be about mid to late 20s. He had a little bit of a body odor about him, so it was reasonable that he had been hiking or had maybe spent, a day overnight.
He'd been hiking, and
as we were driving along, there was a Bible on the dashboard of the car. As I made the turn into Spread Creek Dispersed Camping,
fell on his lap.
The Bible actually slid across the dashboard onto his lap.
So the Bible
He had picked it up and he put it back on the dashboard. We proceeded to the gate of Spread Creek.
He put it back on the dashboard.
I said, do you want to take me further past the gate? And he was like, no, I'll get out here. He literally was opening the passenger side of the door. And I said, well, wait, I'm going to stop the car.
And he's like,
I made
get me out of here.
just trying to be funny, like, oh, you want to walk into the campsite, you don't want your fiance to see you being, driven all the way to the campsite.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's fine, I'll just walk from
He was in a
here.
hurry to get out. I feel like that was God's last
I never
chance,
thought
almost.
anything of it after
Brian's last chance. God was reaching out to him like, look, a Bible landed on your lap. He just puts it back on the dashboard. He knows what he's done. He could have repented. He could have told the truth. He could have just confessed. Now we're at August 30th.
On August 30th, I received a text from Gabby's phone, and it said, can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls.
We know
My
Brian
phone doesn't
is
even
texting
ring.
this.
There's no service.
So Brian's pretending to be Gabby's.
The thing that stuck out to me about that text was
Pretending to be
it
Gabby.
says Stan. And Stan is Gabby's grandpa, who she referred to as grandpa.
She doesn't call her grandpa Stan.
I just thought
so her mom's like, wait a minute.
maybe Brian was texting it because she was driving.
So she thought, okay, maybe Brian's doing this just because Gabby's driving. She didn't know
They
Gabby
could not
was
get a hold
gone.
of Gabby.
She couldn't get a hold of Gabby, but she's
September 1st.
September 1st, here we go.
I texted, hey, how's it going? Going to bed. Wanted to say hi.
Her daughter.
September 2nd, I said hi. Asked her a
September
question.
2nd.
Are you going to Montana?
Going to Montana?
She did not respond.
No response from
I was
Gabby.
looking through social
Or
media
Brian.
every day, and I wasn't seeing any new posts.
No new social
Gabby
media
posted her
posts.
very last Instagram post on August 25th.
August 25th, her last
That was
Insta
the last
post.
time I FaceTimed with Gabby.
And that was the last day her mom FaceTimed with her.
I started to get nervous.
Yeah, her mom's getting nervous.
But
I
I
don't
thought
blame
I'm
her.
overthinking it. She's got no service. They're having fun. They're hiking. Leave her alone. She'll get back to me when she can.
And she's just like, they're having
September
fun.
6th.
September
I texted
6th.
her, Gab, I just got home from camping. Haven't heard from you.
So
Love
her
you.
mom went camping.
September 7th. Hi,
September
I know you might
7th.
not have a good signal, but I'm actually getting worried. I haven't heard from you in a while.
She's still trying to get into contact with her daughter.
September 9th.
Here we are, September 9th.
I texted Joe.
She's texting her ex.
I haven't heard from her in a couple of days.
Nope, haven't heard from Gabby.
And I was like, I haven't heard from her either.
Joe's like, wait a minute, I haven't
So we
heard from her
started making phone
either.
calls to her, but she didn't answer.
And Gabby's not answering. This is unlike
I had
her,
gotten
so they
a call
know.
from Gabby's mother. Hey, have you heard from Gabby? We haven't heard from her. We've
Now
been
Jackson's
looking for
getting a call
I
from Gabby's
texted her a
mom.
few times, like, hey, hope you're doing good. Your mom's looking for you.
And
But I got no response.
Jackson's texting
And
Gabby, no
I
response.
had started to begin to think that Gabby had gone through with her plan that she had spoke about.
So maybe he just thought, oh,
I
Gabby's
started
leaving
getting the
Brian.
vibe that something bad was going on.
But he got a bad
Gabby and I had
vibe.
planned for her
Here's
to call me on my
Rose.
birthday.
Yep.
She did not call me on my birthday.
Gabby was supposed to call Rose on
I
her
was like,
birthday.
that's weird.
And Rose is like, that's weird. Like, Gabby wouldn't do that.
I was
Gabby would
concerned that both Gabby and Brian were missing.
At first,
They were
people
camping
thought both
by
of them were
themselves.
missing.
They could have gotten lost in the mountains.
Yeah, they could have gotten lost in the mountains, or people didn't know. They had no idea Brian had flipped
Friday,
out.
September 10th.
Here we are,
I
Friday,
tried
September
texting
10th.
Brian's mom, Roberta.
Here we go. She's trying to
I said,
text
hey,
Roberta.
have you heard from the kids?
Heard from the kids?
I'm concerned about them. I haven't heard from them in a while.
Haven't heard from Gabby in
That
about
went
10
through.
days.
No response.
Okay, went through
A
blue.
couple hours later, I said, I hope I have the right number.
Hope I have
and
the
that
right
went through
number.
green, as
It went
if
through
I had
green.
been blocked or the phone was shut off.
So Roberta's like
I
blocking
reached out to
Gabby's
Brian's
mom.
parents, and they just never responded.
And Joe is doing
Neither
the same,
did
reaching
Cassie,
out.
Brian's sister.
I guess
No.
Cassie didn't reply to Joe either. Interesting.
Gabby was going to be their daughter-in-law.
Gabby was
This is a
going to
person
be
that I
their
thought they
daughter-in-law.
loved.
This is a person I
I
thought
have
they
text
loved.
messages saying that we were going to call the police.
So he's like, look, we're going to call the police.
And
They're
if
not
someone
even
texts me that they're going to call
replying.
the police, I want to know what's up.
Yeah, Joe's like, hey,
We heard nothing.
nothing. Radio silence
I
from
made
the
a Facebook
laundries.
post. It was a picture of
So
her
this is
sitting
when
on
it
a
goes
rock.
viral.
It said, where's Gabby?
Where's Gabby?
I saw
The
a
first
post
photos
that
we
said,
start
we haven't heard
seeing.
from her. If anyone has any information,
This is that
please let me
woman,
know.
Gabby and Brian's friend. We
I
don't know her
immediately sent it
name,
into our high school friends group chat.
but she's
We
spreading the
theorized
news.
that
Where's
the two
Gabby?
of them just chucked their phones into the ocean and said, we're done with it, done with social media, we're done with anyone around us, we're just going to be together and go off grid.
So this woman didn't really think that. Now here's September 11th when they find out Brian's at
Started making phone
home
calls
with Gabby's
all
van.
over the West Coast, all the
Or
parks,
when he
police,
did come home.
to report her missing.
So they
But they
report her
told us that it
missing.
had to be where your place of residence is.
Stories going
That's when we
viral.
decided to call
Northport.
police.
They're finding out the jurisdictions since so many different
Northport Police
locations.
Department. What can I help you with today? Well, I wasn't sure if you guys could help or not. Just because my daughter lives there in Northport, but she's been on a road trip in her camper van with her boyfriend. She's just gone like off the grid for 11 straight days, which
Off
is
the
not like her
grid.
at all.
Not like
And
her. 11
I don't know what to
days.
do exactly. Where was the last place that you knew she was at when you talked to her? In the Grand Teton, Wyoming. Okay. But then after that, nothing. She's just like disappeared.
Disappeared. Her poor mom and
The
dad.
phone call
and-
that I initially received wasn't necessarily
here's a detective.
anything out of the normal, but things were not adding up.
Josh
as far
Taylor,
as where
PIO,
Gabby was.
with
So on
Northport
Saturday,
PD.
September 11th,
Saturday,
we had
September
officers
11th.
go to
They're
the
following
laundry
up.
family home.
Let's go to the laundry home. This is when the weirdness starts. I like seeing all of this body cam too because I hadn't seen the whole thing before. And they're going to be like, wait, you don't want to talk to us?
Northport Police Department.
Here comes Chris, and Roberta's going to be standing there too. And they're kind of just
I
like,
apologize for bothering you. I have the detective on the phone.
I don't want to talk to anybody,
You don't want
he's
to talk to
saying.
us? Okay, she's on the phone. You don't want to talk to her now?
Chris is like, no.
Okay, it's when was the last time that you saw Brian and
When was the last time you saw Brian and Gabriel?
Well, Brian is
She's
here.
like, well,
Brian's
Brian's here.
And that's all I'm going to say.
And that's all I'm going to say for now.
And that's all you're saying? Yeah.
Seriously.
They've been calling, I don't know.
They've been calling, I don't know.
I don't know why, so my attorney's aware. Okay.
I don't know why. My attorney's aware they're
His
calling.
number.
I can give you his number.
Whose number? The attorney's number? Okay, I would like that, please.
So he's taking the attorney's number. But Chris is acting like, I don't know why Gabby's parents are calling.
And just to let the detective know, is Gabriel here? Or no, she's not here. Is this her vehicle?
Gabriel's not
Her
there.
van?
He's claiming it's both of their vans. It was
All right, thank you.
Gabby's van, just because Brian worked on it too. It was in her name. So this is why they're going to be able to tow her van from that laundry's house. And the tow truck driver is like,
And then I asked him, who does that van belong to? And he says both of them.
You're seeing the van in their driveway and they won't tell you where she is?
Right.
Yeah, because I ran all the tags, and then there's a little white van that comes back to Gabriel.
The van comes back to her name.
Yeah, it's
But
parked
they're
there.
not saying she's there?
No.
Nope. Not saying she's
In the
there.
meantime, I had called his
This
sister.
is Detective Barry.
She called me back and said, oh, Brian's home. He told me to get into a fight. He left her in a hotel and he flew back.
Now,
I don't know what's going on, but
Brian's sister
pretty shady.
is on social media
He won't
saying,
answer any of my phone calls. I'm starting to get a little, what are they hiding?
right, what are they hiding?
I mean, notify a supervisor too. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, try a supervisor. Brian's sister Cassie is saying Barry is getting this wrong. She's misinterpreting what she told her. But Detective Barry's like, wait a minute. Brian's sister told me they got into a fight. He left her in a hotel. But now Cassie is like, no, she got it all wrong.
Hey, Detective Barry, it's Sergeant Seltzer with
Detective
Northport
Barry.
PD. How you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Not too bad. What's going on tonight with, is it Gabriel or Gabrielle?
Gabrielle.
It's Gabrielle.
Okay.
So she was reported tonight missing by her parents. Who live
Missing
up
by
here
her
on Long
parents.
Island.
Okay.
Up in Long
I
Island.
mean, just because she's not contacting them, I mean, as
They
an
refusing to
adult,
talk to me, them.
just
you
because
guys.
somebody is refusing to talk
I mean,
to
you don't
us,
find that a little suspicious when I now have a missing person for 10 days?
I do find it
Suspicious,
suspicious,
yes.
but well, that's New York. I mean, this is Southwest Florida. I wouldn't even have been able to take the missing report.
Just different laws, I guess.
Okay, I'm going to put you on with my supervisor. Hold on.
All right,
It's
sure.
a problem up here that she's MIA, and now there's a the person she was supposedly with is at the house refusing to cooperate with police
Right.
for her whereabouts. It's a simple missing person. Hold on.
God bless Detective Barry. Because she's like, something's wrong here. This is suspicious.
Hey, Sergeant Alvarez, Sergeant Seltzer with Northport
Two
PD. How you doing?
sergeants.
Good, how are you? We're getting little to no cooperation from the boyfriend's parents at the house. Right. Here's what I'm just gonna lay it out. What are you looking for us to do here at this point?
I mean, we have conflicting statements.
Conflicting
Now
statements.
the van's there.
Who? Oh, and the van's there, Brian's there, Gabrielle's not.
Missing. She has no contact with the parents. But based on, her contacting all along, and now there's nothing. Not even a phone on.
Sure, I agree that that's suspicious.
Suspicious,
I'm not
no
denying that in
contact.
the least.
No, I'm sure you're not. I mean,
Here's where I'm at. I agree. Everything is odd. Everything is suspicious. I don't think we have probable cause. I mean, the best I can do is maybe go down and try to see if they'll talk to me.
all right, yeah.
So the sergeant's going now to the laundries. And they're going to tow that van. So it is suspicious, but probable cause, they didn't have it yet. Because she was 22. She was technically an adult. Adults can disappear on their own if they want.
Hey, look.
Here we go
I hate to
again.
bother you.
Hate to bother you, laundries.
Said you don't want to
I already
speak.
said you don't want to
Well, if
speak.
you guys know anything, it would let the parents at ease and go from there.
Like, tell us anything. Oh,
Okay.
Chris says we don't know anything.
I mean, anything that you guys would
He's
be able to
begging
give them.
Anything you guys
is
can
any
give
type of
Gabby's
help.
parents.
Last time your
Any
son
type of
saw
help.
her, anything
Last
like
time
that.
your son saw
Am
her.
I able to talk to
No,
your son?
Chris is saying.
The other
Can
officer
I talk
said
to your
you
son?
fucking told me.
He's not going to talk to
As a
anybody.
parent, you wouldn't want to know where it happened.
As a
here.
parent, you wouldn't want to know what happened. Oh, I understand what you're saying, but thank you, Chris says.
It makes it very odd, don't you think? From my point of view, Chris.
Now, you couldn't call our attorney and give your phone number.
My attorney's not going to answer it at 10
Oh,
11 o'clock
maybe
tonight.
our attorney's
We're
going
not without an attorney, so.
So the van is only registered to her, okay?
The van is only registered
well,
to
I'm going to
her.
tell you. I'm telling you. The title on
He's
the
like,
state
look,
of
I'm telling
Florida
you, I
is
ran
only
it.
hers.
It's only
So
hers.
it's not supposed to be here.
Not supposed to be here.
So I'm going to take a tow truck and get it. Is a car in the way?
Is the car in the way? Can I tow it?
Okay.
That's my car. I can move it, Chris says. And Roberta kind of just stands there. She just said, we're not comfortable with, and that kind of just trailed off. Chris did most of the talking. He's like,
If you're able
he
to
wants
just
their attorney.
hook it up and take it.
Just hook it up and take it, he's telling the tow guy.
Touching it or anything is okay?
Touching it, is that okay?
I would try to avoid the inside.
I would try to avoid the inside.
100% avoid the inside.
The driver says we can 100% avoid the inside.
I don't know what's going on.
He says, I'm kind of weirded out. I don't know what's going on. Even that tow truck driver was like, look, this is a weird situation. I'm towing this van that belongs to this girl who's missing, and the parents won't even talk to police.
I see Detective
Brian's
Barry
parents.
standing there. She said I had them go to the house.
Detective Barry is telling them I had them go to the house. Oh, this is the part.
To see if Brian was there or if they had
Check
heard
to see if
from
Brian and Gabby were there. They're still
She
concerned
said,
about both.
Brian's
Detective
there
Barry
with
said,
the van.
Brian's there with the van,
Not Gabby. And
not Gabby.
he's lawyered up. He
And
has a
he's
lawyer
lawyered
already.
up. He has a lawyer.
I never felt anything like that in my life. My body would not stop shaking.
Nicole
started
said she
screaming.
never felt anything.
I collapsed.
They started screaming.
What do you mean he's got an attorney? Why would you have an attorney?
Right, why would you
Body
have an
went to
attorney?
shock. I thought,
Here we go.
I knew something bad happened.
Nicole knew that day. Like, wait, he's back with the van. Gabby's not
We
there.
needed to do what we could, and that's get as many eyes on Gabby's face as possible.
Excellent. Joe said they needed to get as many eyes on Gabby's face
We
as
just handed them
possible.
out wherever we could.
So these are the posters we started seeing. I remember
Emailed every
emailing every news station, all of those. And he flew to Florida right away. All those viral posters, and with Gabby with her van. He was the best at this
everybody here
presser.
is help.
Joe needs
Because
help.
the goal is still not met. And that goal is to bring Gabby home
The
safely.
goal is to bring Gabby home
And,
safely. That's all that
I'm
matters,
asking for help
is
from
what he's
everyone
going to say.
here. I'm asking for help everyone at home. I'm asking
from
for help
everyone.
from the parents of Brian.
Asking for help
And
from
I'm
the
asking for
parents
help
of Brian.
family members and friends
Family members
of
and
the Laundrie
friends
family as
of
well.
the Laundrie family. Putting that pressure on them. Respectfully, but putting the pressure.
Started to snowball.
Yep, that's when it snowballed. It went viral.
Later, it was just everywhere.
A day or two later, it was everywhere. So now they're going over all the news coverage of this missing
I don't
22-year-old.
remember. Everything's a blur.
Demands for answers tonight by the family of a young woman from New York's Long Island.
On the television screen was Gabby.
So Rose sees
I
Gabby
just
on
lost
TV.
it, to be honest.
She lost it.
Screaming.
She
What
was
did he
screaming.
do?
What did he
He
do?
did something.
He
What did
did
he do?
something.
I
What did he
texted
do?
Brian.
Rose
The
knew.
message didn't go through.
So this other friend texted
The van
Brian.
Gabby Petito was
They got
riding
her
in. There's
van,
still no word
and so
from
they were
authorities
able to
about her
process that
While
van.
traveling
Sure.
cross country with a fiance, he returns
Bunch of
home to
news
Florida
clips.
without her.
We don't know what he told his parents, right? But the fact that his parents have been uncooperative, have not answered questions by the Petito family. I mean, imagine if it was their son that was missing.
That's why it was so weird. The way
This
the
investigation,
Petito,
as we
the way
said,
the
stretches almost
Laundrie's
from coast to
acted.
coast, more than 2,000 miles right now under investigation. Teams are trying to retrace Gabby's steps across the West Coast, including the Grand Teton National Park.
So they were retracing Gabby's steps. So
We discussed sending one of us
September
out to
13th,
Wyoming.
14
And we
days
decided
since
that
last
Jim would
contact.
go.
So Jim went out to Wyoming. This is the part that makes me cry.
Last knew her to be.
This is her
Tell me what you're
stepdad,
doing
Gabby's
here to help
stepdad.
people find Gabby.
We're just here to support law
It's
enforcement,
just
whatever they need.
such a stalwart,
Committed
so
to finding
strong.
Gabby, doing whatever it takes to help them.
Oh, and the phone call he's going to have to make to the parents. This is the part where I cried last night.
With this job,
So hopefully I won't
you never
today.
know what's going to come at you on a daily basis.
No,
and I
this
think
is
you just
Matt
need to be
Carr,
prepared for
Teton
anything. This was
County
a case
Sheriff.
That we started to handle it as we would any other case.
Handling it like any other missing person case. People get
Had
lost
situations
in the
where we had to
woods
locate people that
or
have gotten
wilderness.
lost or injured in the wilderness.
Authorities are continuing their search for a missing 22-year-old woman, last believed to be in Wyoming.
Officials with Grand Teton
This is
National
when it
Park
really
confirmed to
went
me
viral.
earlier they're searching several different areas of the park.
They're going to
But
search
with the
on
amount of
horseback.
national coverage and media that was involved,
I'm
it
sure
became something
they showed
that
Brian
was
Inton.
unique to me and to our agency. We've never dealt with anything like
They
this.
never dealt with that much
I'm hoping wherever
worldwide
she is,
attention.
that she's okay, she's safe.
Jim, it was
We
like
did
wherever
was
she
try
is,
to
I hope
assure
she's
Jim and his
okay.
family that we were going to throw all available resources.
They were throwing
at
all
this
available
case
resources at
and
the
do what we
case,
could
do
to
what they
bring it to
could,
resolution.
bring it to
My
resolution.
first
but-
conversation with our FBI agent
This is
was
funny.
a request that we could certainly use your help.
First combo with
My final call was
FBI.
really telling him to get his ass up here to Jackson because the whole world was now focusing on this location.
The final call to FBI was like, get your butt here. The whole world's watching.
I received a call from
Okay,
Teton
this is
County Sheriff
Kyle,
Matt Carr.
FBI
He
special
began telling me
agent.
about the investigation.
And he's like, okay, the one
We were
going there
able
to help.
bring the FBI up to
Bring
Jackson.
the
and
FBI,
begin
this is
working
the whole
collaboratively
search,
from there.
collaborative
We were told
investigation.
that the last known location for Gabby was around Jackson, Wyoming.
So they knew
The family
somewhere
had
in
said that
Jackson,
they were heading somewhere,
Wyoming,
probably in the Teton,
in the
or
Teton
Yellowstone
Range,
National
Yellowstone
Park areas.
Range they were heading to.
So
So they
we're
have
looking
this
at a search area of about
huge
20,000 square miles.
20,000 square mile
Obviously, we
search
need to narrow
area.
that down
Yes,
quite a
they
bit.
needed to
We're
narrow it
working
down.
with multiple agencies trying to get more data.
No, this is good. They got location data.
Acquire information from Gabby's
Narrowed
cell
it down
phone
a little
to
bit.
help us determine the last general area where she used her phone. It showed that Gabby had been up towards the Spread Creek camping area.
So they knew
in the
she was
Bridger
in
Teton
Spread
National
Creek
Forest.
area
so
near
we're
the
able to
Teton
work with the Teton County Search and
National
Rescue.
Forest. We're
The
working
terrain
with their
around the
search
Spread
and
Creek area,
rescue.
it's very rugged.
Rugged terrain.
One side
Beautiful.
of the creek is a big plains with a lot of bush, but no roads or trails.
Plains,
On the
bush,
camping
no roads or
side, it's
trails.
very heavily wooded and mountainous, and there's some steep canyons.
Okay,
We
steep
had folks on
canyons.
foot. We
they're
had
gonna
folks
have
on
the
side-by-sides. We had horse teams out
side-by-sides.
there. We had drones flying. We were using every bit of technology that we could
They
to
had
throw
a
into
lot
the
of
search area.
resources.
But there was a
trying to
lot
find
of pieces of the puzzle that had to be put together. So we worked very closely with both the agencies up in New York and down in Florida.
This is a great collaborative effort.
I don't
Oh,
take
she's
my
good.
position
Some people don't like her,
as
but
law
she's
enforcement
good.
for
Loretta
granted.
Bush,
Some
FBI
of these
special
stories
agent.
are difficult, but getting closure
She's
from
controversial,
the family, getting
here,
answers
but
is
I
what's
liked
important
her.
to me.
She's like, she's going to get emotional. She's going to cry. She's going to talk about, yes, there are
don't
other missing
understand,
victims.
especially for federal investigations. We need all of our facts, and we need to be able to support whatever we're about to allege.
They need
In the beginning
facts,
of this
and I understand that.
investigation, we were still developing those facts.
Right. They didn't have all the
We
answers.
had surveillance on the laundry's residence.
This is good. They're surveilling the
camera in their
laundries.
backyard
Camera in the
and down the
backyard and down the
Did we
street.
rely on those? Certainly.
And they relied on
The
those.
fact that there were a ton of people in the way.
The protesters got in the way. But yeah, I see all these different protesters.
Dozens of
See Brian
protesters
Laundrie,
descended on the Florida neighborhood
reporter.
where Brian Laundrie's parents reside
But I think the
today.
protesters also helped bring attention to the case as well and put pressure on the laundries. Chaotic scene it
All over the
was.
country are anxious to learn any details they can about Petito's whereabouts.
I just hope that somebody would do the same for me.
Brian's parents were
Brian's
not
parents going on
cooperative
with their
in the
day,
search
not
for Gabby.
cooperative, mowing the
So
lawn.
at the time, the Laundries just carried on with their regular everyday
Carried
life.
on with their regular
In fact, when Brian
everyday
first
life.
came home with the van, him, his parents, and his sister Cassie went on a camping trip.
So when
at
Brian
Fort
first came
DeSoto.
home-
This raised a lot of questions and speculations naturally about what the Laundrie family knew.
His parents. Oh, that's JLR investigates. He was great. He was like, quiet down.
September 11th when
Let's
they
interview
called.
Cassie.
6th through the 8th at Fort DeSoto.
We were at Fort DeSoto on the 6th. We got there at around 2 o'clock and we left around 8 because the kids had school the next day.
On the 6th?
On the 6th.
That's Cassie.
We stayed for about 6 hours.
Talking about
Who was there?
camping
My
with
mom, my
Brian.
dad, my brother.
Brian's
Did Brian
parents.
say anything about Gabby?
Kids there. Nothing came up. We are just as upset, frustrated, and heartbroken as everybody else. And I am losing my parents and my brother and my children's aunt and my future sister-in-law on top of this. And you're not helping.
Why your parents? Why you're talking about
Because
Chris?
they're not talking to us either.
Why aren't they talking to you guys?
If I knew, I would say.
Cassie's claiming her parents didn't
Do you
talk
think they're
to
involved? Your
her.
parents?
Maybe
You
they
don't know.
didn't.
You're not involved?
Literally been
Cassie's
finding
like,
everything
we're
out
not
with the news
involved.
like everybody else.
Thank you, Cassie. for
Maybe
your
she's
time.
telling the truth, but I think they knew it was the last camping trip with Brian to Fort DeSoto. It was like a goodbye. I think that's what it was. I really do. Because
Developing tonight in Utah, a new
Brian knew
glimpse
what
of
he was going to
22-year-old
do.
Gabby Petito and her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie. Now there's body cam video that shows the moments after
No.
police were called.
that's when the Moab body cam video came out. Again, I'll link to the one I got before. It took me a long time to get
video
it.
comes out and brings Brian and Gabby to life.
Yeah, it brought them to life. And the female officer's body cam who spoke with Gabby the most, I'll link to that below. The whole video.
Once the video was released on the news, I saw it with the rest of the world.
Humanized.
I watched my daughter looking frightened to death.
Gabby's mom
That's
watched
when I
that
realized
with the rest of the
that
world.
things were way worse than I could have
And
imagined.
that's when she really knew how bad it was. She didn't know.
Kind of looks like something like hitting you in the face. And then over
Can
on your
you
arm.
imagine watching that body cam of your
That's
daughter
new, huh? It's kind of a
while
new mark.
she's missing?
It breaks my heart to see her in such distress. We didn't get all of the facts that day.
Tara said we didn't get all the facts that day.
Male hitting a female and the two of them getting in this vehicle.
They didn't know
taking
about
off.
all
I
this.
didn't know that there was a phone call to 911 saying that some guy was slapping his girlfriend.
What were they doing?
Some
We
witness
drove by and the gentleman was slapping the
saw
girl.
this.
He was slapping her?
I had never seen Gabby that distraught before.
Jackson hadn't seen her that upset
about
before.
their fight in Moab. But I've seen her
Rose
that
didn't
upset
know
before.
about it, but Rose has seen Gabby that upset because of Brian.
I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me.
Mr.
See the
Jokey.
distress my daughter was in, and them laughing and joking around.
Exactly.
She's just crazy.
Brian, she's crazy.
So I just got on the phone with one of the two witnesses. Sounds like she is the primary aggressor.
I could not believe that she was being treated as an aggressor.
It's just chilling to watch that. When I saw that body cam footage, I knew
They're
that
showing
something
like
wasn't right.
TikTokers.
Why the hell were they questioning her?
You expect that they're going to be there to help, that they're going to be there to try to figure the situation out and do the right thing.
Right.
And the right thing was not done that day.
That's why they ended up
told the
suing
cops
the
he
police.
had no money for a hotel, so they sent him to one that was a domestic violence survivor
So
hotel.
they gave Brian
The world
the DV
got to see the
survivor
dark side,
hotel.
the reality of her life, and what comes behind those closed doors.
And Rose says that's when the world saw behind, you know, the stylized YouTube videos and the kisses and the happy times and all that. All right, here's back at the Laundrie's house in Northport. The way they just reacted was just cold-blooded. Let's see.
It's Officer Hawk with the police department.
Officer Hawk
So what's going
must be talking to Chris.
I don't think that guy's very
Oh
well.
no, that's not Chris.
Can you do a welfare check on
This
that
is
guy?
a witness.
If I think he's in trouble in the house,
Thinking Brian OD'd in
September
his house?
17th,
This is
we got a
September
tip from a
17th.
caller
This is when
that
Brian is
something was
missing.
going on inside of the laundry residence.
Something's going on in the laundry residence.
We went to the house to investigate.
So they're going there. All the protesters are there. And
That's when the laundry informed us that Brian's not in the house.
that's when the laundry say, "Oh, Brian's not here, and he's been missing for what, a couple
They wanted
days."
to report Brian missing, and they hadn't seen him for
They
days.
hadn't seen him for days.
So the laundry family
But they didn't really tell the
asked
police.
to come to the home? That is accurate.
Well, this
they are
is
now
saying
claiming that they have not
asked
seen
police to
their
come to the
son,
home, but
since
I don't know
Tuesday.
if they asked the police.
Family
Maybe they
said he's
did.
been missing
Maybe
for
they did.
days. What the fuck is going on? My thoughts are like,
Right.
do the parents have something to do with it?
How the hell did the FBI and the Northport police let
Walsh,
this kid slip
Adam
out of the
Walsh's
house?
dad.
We were shocked.
Yeah.
I want to bring in Gabby's
Now the
stepfather
attention.
to see what the family
Oh,
makes of the new
He was
developments.
blindsided.
And Jim found out that Brian was
Jim
missing
found out on air.
while on the air.
The family
Found out
says
Brian
they
was
haven't
missing.
seen Brian since Tuesday.
Jim's like a deer in headlights.
Screen to do an interview. Felt like a deer in headlights.
Felt like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, it's the first time we're hearing it.
First time we're hearing it.
I don't think I even had a moment to.
He hasn't
really
processed
digest
it.
yet.
Sorry if you hear the train noise, but I just
Yeah.
want to roll through episodes 2 and 3 and be done with this. Clear the road. They're telling him.
Holy shit. Brian's gone. We now have 2 people
We
missing.
now have 2 missing people because they still haven't found Gabby,
Searched Brian's house
her body yet.
and collected potential evidence.
So they're searching Brian's house. That gave them a chance to get in there and
There
search.
was a note that Brian's
There was a
mother had
note.
written to Brian.
Oh, here's that burn
and it was
after
titled
reading note. So
Burn
this
After Reading.
episode is about to end now. Oh, what a great second episode. You know, they have to
You're my
leave you
boy.
on a
Nothing can make
cliffhanger.
me stop loving you.
You're my boy. Nothing can make me
Nothing
stop
will
loving
or
you.
could ever divide
Nothing
us,
will
no matter
or could
what
ever
we do.
divide us, no matter what we do.
If you're in jail,
Look
I
at
will
her.
bake a cake with a file in it.
She's putting
If you
something
need
on
to
Brian's
dispose of
mouth.
a body, I will show up with a shovel and garbage bags.
If you need to dispose of a body, I'll show up with a shovel and garbage bags. That's what Brian's mom is saying. Powerful second episode. We're just about to roll into the third episode because I want to get this done, hopefully, Lord willing, in Jesus' name, in one fell swoop. Very powerful. So it's funny how the laundries, they let the cops inside. I guess we're starting 3 now. September 17th, 2021.
Dozens of protesters descended on the Florida neighborhood where Brian Laundrie's parents
This is
reside
episode
today,
3
saying
called
they're
Burn
not gonna
After
leave
Reading.
until they get answers.
A tremendous twist in this case. We
So
now
they
have
let
2
the cops in
missing
when Brian's
young people.
missing, not when Gabby's
My
missing.
first reaction when I saw that Brian was missing was like, no, he's not. He's running.
Rose says he's
Nobody
not
knows
missing,
where he
he's
is.
running.
Not police, not FBI. His parents say they don't know either.
Experts have been
no one
asking,
knew
is
where
this
he
someone who
was.
seems like they would take their own life, or is this more like somebody who would take off?
But wait till
Gabby
you
was
see
still
how
missing.
fast his
And the one
parents find
person
his
that
remains.
was with her now is gone.
It's turning turning from Gabby to Brian.
Okay,
and I
so
was
we've
still
got like
thinking,
39 more
I haven't
minutes.
found my daughter yet. I need to find my child.
They're both around the
The
same
media
39
shifted their
minutes.
attention to Brian missing. But at this point in the investigation, we needed a body to prove a crime.
So
we could not arrest Brian.
They
Our
couldn't arrest
sole
Brian.
focus became
Yes.
finding Gabby.
So they're trying to find Gabby. They're trying to find Brian. This is really well done, just like the Shanann Watts American Murder Netflix series. I don't know if her family participated in that one though, but I like that Gabby's family participated.
Anyone who saw the couple
they're in Teton.
contact the FBI.
We asked for the public's help,
the date,
and
but
they
I will.
more than responded. We began receiving around 200 to 300 tips per day.
Kyle, the
from the
FBI
country.
agent, is talking about all these tips.
Found a picture of Gabby
Oh, this is
in
when.
the background of another person's tagged photo.
Yeah, I don't know if that was really Gabby, but people were
I was
like
just
sending in
scrolling
all
through
these
my
tips.
phone, and there was a TikTok post from a girl named Miranda.
Yes, Miranda.
Hi, my name is Miranda Baker,
I remember this
and
one.
on August
Miranda
29th, my boyfriend and I picked up Brian
Miranda
at
Baker.
Grand Teton
Miranda
National
Baker.
Park. I'm hoping this can help someone identify him because I saw him from TikTok.
I was thinking to myself,
August
that
29th.
sounds like the person that I picked up. So I immediately
So that helped
called
Norma
the Teton
Jean.
County Sheriff.
So that's when Norma Jean called in and remembered the hitchhiker she picked up.
A critical piece of the puzzle for
It
us
really
narrowing
helped.
down our search area.
Narrowing down. Matt Carr, the Teton County Sheriff, says it really helps all these people calling
it was
in.
like the second week of September is
Red,
when
White,
we
and
started
Bethune.
really hearing something about Gabby.
They are really heroes in this case.
It spreads pretty quickly in the community. Social media, it was everywhere.
This part is good. They've done a live video. They don't even know if they'll watch this series. They're like, we
the
lived
FBI
it.
was estimating the 21st through the 24th, and so we weren't even there at that time.
So they weren't in Spread Creek from the 21st to the 24th.
On August 27th,
then.
we were just looking for a place to stay over the night. Our friends said, Spread Creek, go check it out.
We came, we slept, and then we went on our way. I was editing our YouTube video from the Spread Creek timeline of August 27th. And I was sitting next to my phone,
She's gonna find
and
the
I got
footage.
this notification from one of our RV friends, and they said, Red, White, and Bethune, check any footage you have. The timeline has changed.
They shifted the
I read the
timeline.
National Park Service post,
And they saw.
and it said August 27th or 28th. All the color and blood and life drained from my body.
like,
because I was
have
like,
the footage.
I have it.
And they were able to find that footage. And this is the famous footage. Of course, you've probably seen it already, so it doesn't matter that it's this small. But the van, she saw Gabby's van right there off to the left. And boy, what a way to break open the case and give the FBI and everyone, the sheriff's office, everyone more details.
That's Gabby's
That's her van. That's Gabby's
I said,
van.
we're posting this.
She said,
and
we're
I said,
posting
we got to
this.
get it out here.
We got to get it out here now. I remember that. Oh my
By the
goodness.
time we woke up the next day,
Woke
it
up
was
the next
up
day,
over around 1 million
It
views.
had more than 1 million views.
I almost jumped out of my seat. There's the van.
Nicole's
They got
like,
it.
almost jumped out of my seat. There's the van. They got
I
it.
was at the forward command post when we received the Bethune video.
Okay, this is Kyle, the
and it
FBI
did
agent.
appear to be the Spread Creek area.
He's like, yeah, that's
Once
the
I
Spread
got
Creek
to
area.
the spot where their van had been parked, I was able to look at the video and see that the trees lined up.
He saw the trees
and the
lined
marks
up.
on the ground where the cam van had been.
Marks on the
lined
ground
up.
where it been, so
This
that
allowed
really
us
helped
to
him.
corroborate the information that we already had from the phone companies.
Match it
to
up
give
with
us
the
a
phone
much
company
better search
info.
area.
Much better search area. So Red, White, and Bethune really did help break this case open. Some people can be such
On the second day of our
naysayers
search,
and say it didn't, but it really helped police narrow it down.
river bottom.
So they're focusing on the river bottom.
Last known to be camping.
Second day of the search, near the area they were last known to be camping,
Horseback
Brian
is
and
a
Gabby.
really good way to search
This is
wilderness
cool.
areas.
Horseback is a great way to
So
search.
we had a horse team that was working
They
their
had the
way
horse
up to Spread
team.
Creek, as well as our team on foot.
Team on foot,
All of a
just
sudden,
searching.
One of the team
This
members
is horrible.
saw what they believed was a body of an individual.
And this is when they found Gabby. And she's going to be like in a hoodie and it was like pulled up, I guess. I want to say. Whoa, that's but I was trying to pull my hood up.
She was laying on her side.
But she was laying on her
wrapped up
side.
in a sweater.
Wrapped up in a sweater. Sounds like a hoodie though. Because he's like, her
The
hood
last
was
time
up.
we had confirmation that Gabby was alive was on August 27th. We didn't
August
find her
27th.
until September 19th.
Last confirmation, September 19th they
we
found
believe she
her.
had been in that same position.
They think she was in that same position, and this is the part.
In front of her was a burn scar on the ground if somebody had tried to light a small fire.
There was a burn scar on the ground.
Fire-starting materials.
But no
Her
fire-starting
boots were off,
materials.
and they were
Her boots were
next
off.
to her body.
Next
and
to
next
her body.
That fire.
Next
She was
to
not
the
laying in a
fire.
natural position.
Not laying in a
It
natural
appeared
position.
to the investigators
Staged
at that
crime
time that
scene.
the crime scene had been staged.
Was she in the fetal position? What did
We
Brian
had
do? Did
instituted a no-fly zone over the national park.
No fly zone,
However,
but helicopters
there were
came
still news organizations that were sending helicopters towards our search area.
because everyone was.
We need to very quickly protect the crime scene as
Mhm.
well as Gabby's dignity.
They wanted to protect
Later
Gabby's
on,
dignity.
the
They
court
put up
ruled
a
that Gabby's death
tarp.
was a homicide as a result of blunt force trauma
Blunt
and
force
manual
trauma,
strangulation.
manual strangulation, homicide. So Brian, I don't know what he did, like a rock or Lord knows what he used, but
Just a lot of mixed emotions.
this is the hard part.
I think we were all hoping for a different outcome.
Of course, everyone was hoping for a different outcome. They wanted Gabby to be alive and to
The
drive
FBI
away
supervisor
from
went
that
immediately to
abusive
inform the family
man.
so they would hear from us and not from the
Here
national.
come the notifications so the family won't find out from the media. And they told Jim, and Jim has to make the hardest call of his life. And I don't want to cry through this point, but
The morning of the 19th.
boy. Okay,
they
so
told
this
us
is
that,
September
they
19th.
had found remains consistent with
And they found
our daughter
remains
Gabby.
consistent with our daughter Gabby, he says. And this is the hard part where, of course, there's going to be plenty of tears.
And I said, "Are you sure?"
And he said, "Are you sure?"
I have to be sure
You
because
have
I
to
have
be
to
sure.
make this call.
Because I have to make this call. He has to call.
He said, "I'm going to show you this." And I don't want to, but
Yeah, he had to
some stuff on here
identify
maybe you can identify.
Gabby. I think it's better Jim was out there than her
It was
mom.
Gabby.
He said it was Gabby. He identified whatever they showed him. I'm grateful he
Laying on the
was out
ground.
there. Gabby was laying on the ground.
On her left side in a fetal position.
On her left side in a fetal position. He's going to say with her hood pulled up. I remember that part.
Her hair coming out of her hood that was
out of
over her
hood.
head.
That was over her head. Just the rough part.
Laying there on the ground.
Laying
for
down on the
weeks.
ground for weeks. He's going to say, who would leave someone
wild.
like that? In the wild. Somebody they purported to love.
Just left there like she was a piece of trash.
Left there like she
Somebody
was a
supposed to
piece
love
of
her.
trash by somebody who was supposed to love her. That's the part that made
And I
me
collapsed
cry
to the
last
ground.
night. He
And I had to
collapsed
pick
to
up
the
the
ground. He had to pick up the
Compose
phone,
myself.
compose himself,
And call Nikki.
call his wife, Nikki,
And get Joe on the phone.
and Joe,
And Tara in a
and
conference
Tara.
call.
Get them in a
And tell
conference
them
call
from 2,000 miles away
Mm.
that our daughter was dead.
and tell them all that Gabby was
It
gone.
was the worst phone call I've ever made in my life.
Worst phone call he's made in his life, I'm sure.
I
How
remember
horrible.
on September 19th
Okay, here's when Joe is talking
got a
about
phone
September
call.
19th.
that I'd never see my daughter again.
Well, I pray he sees her in heaven.
I don't remember anything.
Flash into those old, younger pictures too. It's just
The worst day.
he looks
of
so
our life.
young, and Tara was in Gabby's life, obviously,
was
since
the
she was a
last
little
one.
girl too. It's just, what can you say at this part? It's just the heartbreak.
I'm sure she was scared.
He's going to talk about Gabby being scared. Who did
Anytime
she
was
call
scared,
out
she would
for?
call me or Jim, you know, you
Right.
or Nikki. So
Like, who did
I don't know who
Gabby?
she called out for.
He said, I don't know who Gabby called out for, like during her last moments, and that part was pretty heartbreaking.
Opened the back sliding door because the kids were sitting outside during the
Yeah.
phone call, and I said,
Nicole
"Everybody
is
come inside."
Bringing
Because I
all
wanted
the
to be the
kids
one to tell
in
my kids.
to tell her kids about Gabby.
It was the worst feeling I'd ever felt.
The worst.
I definitely
feeling.
broke down like really hard.
This is
I
TJ,
don't
Gabby's
honestly even know
brother.
if it's still like fully hit me.
He said he still doesn't know if it's hit him. I can't
That was
imagine.
the first time I saw the girl
Living in a
break
nightmare.
down.
So
They knew their sister was never
her
going
sisters
home.
broke down, knowing Gabby would never come home. That's just the hardest part right there. I mean, it's all an entire
I got a
trigger
text
warning,
message from a
trigger
reporter.
warning, of course. So
You said, "Did you see the news?"
Rose got a text
My heart
message from a
sunk.
reporter,
And he
that's
said they
when
found a body.
her heart
And
sank.
that was the first time in my life that I could say I was truly speechless. I've never felt something like that before. I think the worst thing is it's not even a loss.
I like that part, she says. It's not even
someone
lost.
being taken.
It's someone
Somebody else
being taken
decided
from
that
you.
they had the right
Brian
to take
deciding
somebody you love out
he
of your
had
life.
the right to take
forever.
Gabby out of all these people's lives who loved her.
Gabby
That's
Petito.
so
I was
insightful.
watching a news broadcast.
Oh, this is when Jackson
they had a
finds out.
breaking news story that they had found her body. I was devastated.
He's devastated. He's like, that's my first love.
She was my first love.
It's really sad. Some people think he looks like Brian. I don't know.
His head broke.
I think he looks better than Brian.
Had found her
This
body.
is the friend that
Just didn't know
found
what
out.
to think of it. You know, I just wanted to shut it off or wake
She
up.
wanted to shut off the news or wake
Think
up.
it was, you know, a bad dream or something.
I'm sure everyone felt it was a bad dream. So that's how all the notifications happened and reality set in.
Once
Okay.
we found Gabby,
Once they found
that
Gabby,
really just expanded the investigation.
now the investigation
we now have
expands.
to start shifting our focus to who is the suspect and how do we start building this evidence so we can prosecute this case down the road.
And they know who the suspect is, the main one, but unfortunately
We
took
know
his own
that
life.
on August 27th, around 1 o'clock,
So they're going
Brian
back.
and Gabby were at
August
a restaurant
27th.
in Jackson called Mary Piglet's.
They were at the Mary
While they were there,
Piglet's.
a female said she witnessed Gabby and Brian having some sort of an argument.
Yeah, a witness said Gabby and Brian were arguing.
Really upset, pissed off, I would say. He was angry.
Brian was
He
pissed off,
got up
angry.
very abruptly and just like, you know, walked out the restaurant. Gabby was really upset. She was crying.
Once again, another argument. I hate all this.
When I got
1:45 p.m.
On the 27th, I think back on
Gabby's
the fact
trying to
that
call
maybe if I
Jackson.
did answer that phone call, I could have helped, or there could have been a different outcome.
What a regret to live with that he missed
After
that
that, they
call.
went to the Whole Foods where they were seen on
So
camera.
this is when they go to Whole Foods, and we see them on camera for the last time. This is the 27th,
Once
right?
they leave the Whole Foods, they begin to drive up to the Spread Creek
Okay,
area.
then
from
they go
Jackson.
from Whole Foods to Spread Creek area, and this is where it happened.
Video taken by the Bethunes
Maybe-
showed the white van on the side of the road between 6 and 6:30 p.m.
Okay, so that video from Red, White, and Bethune, 6 and
Just
6:30
looked
p.m.
super dark, really closed up, and I just assumed they were out hiking or taking advantage of the outdoors.
Around 7:15.
7:15.
She
Here
said
it
it's
is.
the last known text message.
He said
to
I could
her
have the
mother,
van if I paid him. Are you guys
speaking
breaking
about
up?
how she could
No.
make more money as a solo female van
I
lifer.
could make more money. So that's that night. That night.
We're able to look back and look
27.
at her usage of her computer.
Mm-hmm.
Around 8:30, she was moving computer files around on her hard
So
drive.
8:30 p.m. she was likely
She
still
was
alive.
during that time.
Moving
because
computer files
the files
around.
were video files.
Moving
and this was
video
consistent with
files.
the patterns she had done prior.
And that's consistent with her pattern.
By the
She's
next day.
editing.
We have no information indicating that Gabby is still
So
alive.
by August 28th, there's no
We're able to look
indication
back
that
and look
she's
at
still
all her
alive.
devices, like the phone and her computer. And at that point, there was no more movement.
No more
The
movement. I don't know
investigation
what
found that
time.
Brian killed Gabby and moved her body to where it was found.
I don't know exactly what time. If it was nighttime, August 27th, they're saying. So now here's August 28th. So it must have been that night. She must have said, "Look, let's break up." She was probably hoping they could do it
had left from
amicably.
the Spread Creek area.
Okay, Brian
and had
leaves Spread
hiked
Creek
up north
August
towards the
28th.
Coulter Bay camping area.
He's hiking up north towards Coulter
the way,
Bay
he was
camping
taking
area.
photos.
Look at this, taking
Some
photos.
of them were scenic, but he was also
Some
taking
scenic.
a lot of pictures of bones of
A
animals
lot
that
of
were
photos
deceased.
of bones.
On the 29th,
Like death was
there
on
was
his
cell phone
mind.
tower data that showed
29 cell
at
phone
1:20,
tower
he
data.
calls his mom Roberta and
He's
has
calling
about a
his mom
55-minute call.
55 minutes
His
call
father
with
then
his mom.
contacted an attorney.
That's when they contacted an attorney. Tell me they didn't
Continue
know.
having calls back and forth with each other
Calls back and
until about
forth
3:30 in the afternoon.
until 3:30 in the afternoon. So he confessed to his
Information
parents.
from the phone company show that as Brian is hiking,
Brian's
text
hiking.
messages are being sent to Gabby's phone.
This is when
which
he's
looks back at the Spread Creek area.
Pretending to be Gabby. Still no rush. Just wanted to say I'm sitting in front of the visitor center now. Can't wait
Hi,
for
my
you
name
to
is
see.
Miranda Baker, and on August
Okay,
29th,
so now on 29th,
my boyfriend and I
Miranda.
picked up Brian at Grand Teton National Park.
And then that's when she gives him a
5:55 on
ride.
the 29th.
5:55 p.m. on the 29th.
And they began giving him a ride south towards Jackson.
So it's going south towards Jackson.
Around 6:30 or 6:45, Brian was picked up by Norma Jean.
6:30,
and she gave him a ride to the entrance to the Spread Creek.
Norma
camping
Jean
area,
takes
where
Brian
he had
to
left
Spread
the
Creek,
van.
where he left the van, left Gabby around there.
text
surprised
messages
you're
to
even
Gabby's
getting my
phone
text.
are not
Do you
read
think you could pick me up
until
tomorrow?
Brian gets back to the Spread Creek
Yeah,
area.
sure, baby. We'll do
where
one more
Gabby's
night
phone
of
was
Dispersed,
left.
and then we've got our site at Culture
The
Bay for 2
activity
nights.
between the two phones
So
was
he's-
almost instantaneous.
So he
Brian
left Gabby's
was
phone
holding
down
both
there at
phones
Spread Creek.
and talking directly to
And
himself.
once he gets back to Spread
It
Creek,
was apparent that he was trying to create an
texting
alibi.
himself. Creating an alibi. That doesn't sound like a remorseful.
On August 30th,
August
Brian departed
30th
from
now.
Wyoming to travel back to Florida.
Now he leaves in Gabby's van to go back towards Florida. He's gonna like Zelle himself $700 and use her debit card for
A
gas.
text message is sent from Gabby's phone to her mother's phone, requesting that the mom speak to the grandpa because the grandpa had been contacting Gabby.
And this is when he's like, "Can you help Stan?" Pretending to be Gabby.
Gas stations.
Stopping at the gas stations.
Credit card records. We know that he uses Gabby's debit card to pay
Use
for
Gabby's
gas.
debit card. And this is where the fraud
Also
or
on the
whatever
trip,
charge came in.
There's a Zelle transaction
Zelle transaction. Look at this, what the description
from
is.
Gabby to Brian.
From Gabby to Brian. Look at this. Goodbye,
It
Brian.
says, "Goodbye, Brian. I'll never ask you for anything
I'll
again."
never ask you for anything
Transfer
again.
$700 from Gabby's account to Brian's account.
And he transferred
And we know
out of Gabby's account
Gabby
into
was
his
deceased,
own.
and this
Gabby's
was Brian
already
using
dead.
multiple devices to send this to himself.
So this is where those far out
What
financial
this did
charges
is it goes from
came
him
in.
being a missing person to now making him a federal fugitive.
Now he's a federal fugitive, and everybody thought they spotted Brian everywhere. They're going to show all these. Is this a Brian
On
spotting?
September 23rd,
September
a federal arrest warrant was
23rd.
issued for Brian.
Finally, an arrest warrant was issued. Doggies out there, they're going to be. Oh, some got attacked, I guess, by gators or something.
Breaking news, authorities just issued an arrest warrant for Brian Laundrie.
And now it's the big search.
Public for help in finding
Everyone who was
We had
bald-headed with a
over
beard.
4,000 tips generated just
More
to the
than
FBI alone.
4,000 tips to the FBI. Everybody thought they were
Showed me
seeing
this on
Brian.
YouTube. A person ducking up and down
In the-
on this video.
A lot of people are saying everybody saw everything.
to Brian Laundrie. The lady who took this photo said he ran to the woods as a police car drove by.
A possible sighting of Brian Laundrie in Ocala,
I
Florida.
think he was just
Dog the
in
Bounty
that place where
Hunter
he was
joined the
found all
search
this time.
for Brian Laundrie.
Here's Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Probably one of my fans.
He's like,
We get a
Brian's
scent
probably one of
a
my
trail.
fans.
We get a scent, he's done.
We get a scent, he's done, Dog the Bounty Hunter said.
In order to find out what happened next, we need to retrace Brian's steps.
So now they're retracing Brian's
On
steps.
the morning of September 14th,
September 14th, the morning.
3 days before Brian's parents reported him missing to the cops,
3 days before he was reported
we
missing
learned
by his
that somebody
parents.
had left their car in the park for a substantial amount of time.
So that Mustang, I guess, was
They
left in the park.
reported that to the Northport Police Department.
So
They
the
ran the
parents
plates and it
reported
turned out it was the Laundrie's
Oh
car.
no, someone else reported it. It was the Laundrie's car. And the Laundries are going to be
After
like,
learning
oh, we
about
know
the car
Brian
being
likes to go
ticketed,
camping.
The Laundries picked up the car
So
from the
here
park
go the
and drove it
Laundries.
back home.
Picking up the car. They're going to be laughing about the police mistaking Roberta for Brian.
That the park where the vehicle was found was one of Brian's favorite places to go hiking.
This is where Brian liked to go hiking in Florida. And they're going to close it off.
We
and-
learned that Brian told the Laundries that he was going for a hike to relieve some steam from the pressure of the people in the crowd that had collected outside of the Laundries house.
So Brian somehow sneaked out, went for a hike,
He had
told his
taken a
parents
backpack
to get away
full
from
of
these.
hiking equipment,
Took
a
hiking
tent,
equipment,
food.
a
They
tent,
believed he was
food.
going to return. I mean, it
So-
wasn't uncommon for Brian to go hike and stay out in the woods for a couple days.
So the Laundries allegedly thought Brian was coming
It was
back
for this
home.
reason that the Laundries did not contact police about the car.
And that's why they didn't.
Because they were holding out
contact
that
police.
he would return home.
I don't know how much to believe about the Laundries.
Track of Brian
There
Laundrie
he
after
is.
they
There she
confused him
is.
for his mother.
They confused him for his mom. Okay, now Roberta's saying the Northport police said Brian and I have a similar build. That would make Brian mad. Cassie's like, yeah, everyone's laughing at that remark because not even remotely close. Short, pudgy, and big bottom, Roberta says. Or short, sassy, and shapely, pear-shaped. LOL, must have just been the hat. Put their top top-notch guys on surveillance, Cassie says. Like
on
they're
September 18th,
laughing at the police being confused.
in the park
Roberta
where
for
the
Brian.
Mustang was found.
So here they go. They're starting that
It was
search.
not an easy search.
That
the Myakkahatchee and the Carlton
Myakkahatchee.
Reserve essentially create one giant park.
Huge, and
It's
it was all that
approximately
flooding.
40 square miles, so over
40 square miles?
20,000 acres.
Over 20,000 acres. It's huge. And the doggies, God bless
We
the
collaborated
doggies.
with our state and local partners.
So they're getting there.
We had volunteer agencies out there.
Volunteer agencies. And so they really did a hard job. As much as people are criticizing,
Everybody wanted to be a part of this search.
these guys did a great job to me, risking their lives
We
with
had
these dogs.
drones trying to locate just any activity that we could see. Maybe some wrappers on the ground, maybe a heat signature.
They're trying to find anything, all this technology.
We had dogs
yeah,
that
this
were
is
picking up some sense.
Dogs picking up
But
scents.
they were being attacked by
They
alligators.
were being attacked by
We
alligators, the
also
dogs.
had weeks of rain.
Oh my goodness, weeks of rain.
So
This is the
park
flooding.
had completely
imagine?
flooded out, and the areas to be searched were literally waist deep or
Wait,
up
look
to
at
your
that. You
chest.
probably can't see
We
it.
had people
But these guys are in
through
water
that
up to here.
for weeks, trying
People
to
walking
locate
through
Brian.
that for weeks trying to locate Brian. And as soon as they open it up to the public, the laundries are going to come and find Brian within
On
45
October
minutes.
20th,
So tell me
park
they didn't know
managers
anything.
opened the park to
Here we go.
the public.
October
it had been
20th, I think
closed because of the flooding.
It was closed because of the flooding, and then the laundries are going to come
We were
slickety
informed
split
that
over there.
the laundries were going to go to the park as soon as it opened to try to locate Brian.
And here they are, laundries. Oh, just so happened.
Law enforcement also went out there.
Law enforcement following them, of course. Being with them. And it's going to be like 45 minutes. So tell me Brian did not warn his parents, I'm going to go to this specific spot, and maybe he told them what he was going to do. I don't know if he did, but they found Brian so quickly in his little stupid
The
wet
laundries
bag
began their
and notebook.
search approximately at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, laundries start searching around 7 a.m. And what, by 7:45 they find their son's remains.
They knew where their son liked to hike.
They knew where he liked to
They knew
hike.
where he liked to camp out
They
there.
knew where he liked to camp. So maybe that's why, but
There
I
was
still
so
think
much
they knew
tension
more.
in the air.
A lot of tension.
They did not emote.
They did not emote, she said. They didn't have many emotions. They were at least not displaying many emotions. Maybe they knew what they were going to find. And just wait, a big bottomed pear-shaped Roberta and goes that way. Chris goes
About
that way.
an hour into the laundry
About
search,
an hour into the laundry
Chris
search.
Laundry found the waterproof bag that
Chris
belonged to Brian.
Laundry found Brian's waterproof bag. So it's going to have that stupid journal in there, and
45 minutes after that,
45 minutes
Brian's
after
remains
that,
were located.
then they found his remains.
It was approximately a mile from where he had parked his car.
About 1 mile from where he parked that Mustang, and
His
basically
belongings were still there.
it's going to be almost all gone.
His clothes were still there.
His clothes were there, his belongings
His
were
shoes
there,
were still
his
there.
shoes were there.
But he had completely decomposed all the way down to the bone.
He had completely decomposed all the way down to the bone.
The
That's
autopsy
why.
report later determined that the cause of death was suicide by
Cause
a
of
gunshot
death
wound to the head.
was him taking a gunshot wound to his head. But
His parents found his remains. That blew my mind. I didn't even believe it. I thought it was like fake news.
that's what
I
some
was like,
people
what do you
think.
mean?
It's not
This
him.
makes no sense.
I'm not big on conspiracies,
I was
but
pissed off, to be honest. I just wanted
really angered Rose.
answers.
She wanted answers, and Brian took all the
when we
answers
found
with
his
him.
remains, their answers went out the door.
I believe it was him. I mean, they could obviously match his DNA, but some people are like, "Oh, that wasn't him," as if
I know
Brian
you
got
have a
some
lot of questions,
skull or
So
something.
we don't have all the answers yet.
Okay, here's
We're
Michael
working diligently
McPherson,
to get those
FBI
answers for
Special Agent, Tampa Division, saying people have questions.
Inside the
and it was
waterproof
huge.
bag were
Okay, here's the
pictures
journal.
of Brian and Gabby.
Pictures of Brian and Gabby. And it's going to be all his stupid little made-up story that is not consistent with
also
the facts.
a waterproof notebook that Brian had written.
This is the notebook Brian wrote in.
Multiple letters to his family,
Wrote all the
mostly
letters
to
to
say
his
that he
family,
loved them
to tell them
and
he
to say
loved
goodbye
them.
to them.
Saying goodbye, but this is him explaining what happened with Gabby. I've killed myself by this creek in the hopes that the animals will tear me apart. That it may make some of her family happy. Oh, what a jerk. He's saying, this was an unexpected tragedy. Rushing back to our car, trying to cross the streams, I hear a splash and a scream I can barely see. I found her breathing barely, gasping. She was freezing cold. The temp had dropped. He's just making up fiction now. And he's setting himself as the hero. When I pulled Gabby out of the water, she couldn't tell me what hurt. While carrying her, she continually made sounds of pain. Laying next to her, she said between violent shakes, gasping in pain, begging for an end to her pain. Some of that might be true, but it's not the way he's saying it. I ended her life. I thought it was merciful. No, if it were just an accident, he would have called 911. But from the moment I decided to take her pain away, I knew I couldn't go on without her. Like he has to tell himself this stupid story instead of being a real person and giving her parents the truth.
Of Brian's account was accurate by the findings of Gabby's autopsy.
Exactly.
The sole cause of her death was strangulation and nothing remotely or even close to what he said.
So it's not about some fall and him mercifully
Brian
taking
wrote
her
in
out.
his letter
I'm sorry to her family because I love them. I consider
come to Long Island
her
to
younger siblings.
confront me and to confess what he did.
I rushed home to spend any time I had left with my family. I wanted to let James or TJ kill me. I'm ending my life because I cannot stand to live another day without her.
In there, leave my parents out of this. They didn't do anything wrong.
Please do not make my life harder for my family. They lost a son and a daughter.
It's disgusting. I personally love my mother.
What do I mean?
But I'd be very concerned if she sent me a letter like that.
She's trying to claim like the Laundries lost Gabby as a daughter.
We were just so in shock and angry that how could she write this letter? It's just disgusting.
You're talking about Roberta's burn after reading
He told him, I'll bring you a shovel to help bury the body.
Here's Vinny.
Wow.
Right. His mom, the nerve, the evilness.
We still don't know the extent of Brian's parents' involvement.
Yep.
But what we do know is that on August 29th, Brian made a flurry of calls to his parents.
Brian called his parents. What is this,
They contacted each other multiple times.
They went back and forth.
He told them Gabby was gone and that he needed a lawyer.
Gabby was gone. He needed a lawyer.
We found out Brian made a frantic phone
So the Laundries knew
to his parents that Gabby is gone and he needs help.
Right.
At which point his parents wired money to a lawyer.
His parents wired money, $25,000 to a lawyer.
They contacted their attorney and wrote him a big check and said that they didn't know anything other than she was gone.
They didn't know anything. She's just gone. We don't know
You're
anything.
gonna throw $25,000 of your hard-earned cash out on a lawyer from fucking Wyoming?
Thank you.
And you're telling me you didn't ask where she was?
Right. You didn't
That's
ask any
some bullshit.
questions. Yep, that's
I'll
BS.
tell you that right
That's what
now.
Joe says. I don't blame him.
I don't think the amount of money they paid their attorney would be for anything less than to represent somebody for murder.
$25K. You know you're representing somebody for murder. So those are good thoughts. And how dare Brian do this?
Never gonna get remotely close to the answers that we were hoping for.
Right. They knew.
Because the only two people that truly knew what happened are now both gone.
Because Brian took the answers with him and he had the nerve to not even tell the truth on his deathbed, to write out, I'm sorry, I lost it when Gabby said she would leave me and I did this. He couldn't even say that.
The image of Brian has completely shattered.
So now her image, the friend's image of Brian is completely shattered. He did something
There's no
awful.
taking it back.
And there's no taking it back. And he couldn't even tell the truth in that last journal.
I was Brian's
He was going to be gone anyway. He could have
But I was
told the
also
truth.
very close with Gabby.
So she was Brian's friend and Gabby's
think
friend.
about her
So I'm sure
family
she feels
nonstop.
conflicted. She thinks about her family a lot and she's crying. It's
You grieve
just
every
a
day.
tragedy.
You can smile.
This
the
is
pain
hard.
is always there.
You grieve every day. You can smile. The pain is always there.
It never goes away.
Tara and Joe said it never goes away. The pain does not go away. But they're doing great work. They're going to talk about the foundation now and Joe bringing attention to all cases. People of color. Many people.
We're gonna go check it out.
This is great. This is when Nicole and
We
family,
decided as a
they went out to
family
Spread Creek.
that we all wanted to go visit the spot where Gabby was found.
There's a rainbow in
wanted to
some
take
picture
Gabby's
they didn't talk
siblings.
about.
We also brought Jackson and
They brought
Rose.
Jackson, her ex.
As soon as I landed, the only words coming out of my mouth was, "Oh my gosh."
They brought Rose.
Because of how beautiful it was.
They could see how beautiful it was. So they see why they fell in love with this area, why Gabby wanted to go out there, why she wanted to travel the country. And there is going to be a rainbow somewhere. There was the cross that, who built it? Her stepdad built that cross in the area. So they will show the cross. And it's really gorgeous out there. It does make me want to go out there, but I don't want to fly into Jackson Hole. I hear that's like landing in a shoebox, but maybe I'd rather drive out there, but it's completely
Once we got
gorgeous.
to where Gabby was, you could feel her presence and her spirit there.
There's the cross, and there's another cross. There's a cross made of rocks that her stepdad put out there, but also another cross. And they're going to take this picture and talk about seeing an orb, and they believe that that was
just
Gabby.
Such a beautiful moment.
It was nice they were able to all travel out there. Not for closure, but whatever you call it.
Ashes.
They brought Gabby's ashes.
The kids all kind of walked around and found different areas.
The kids were spreading them. It was probably a step
Gabby's
towards
younger
healing.
sister and I did ours together. And it was so hard. But it was so exactly what Gabby would want.
So Rose and one of Gabby's little sisters helped spread ashes
It was just
together.
really healing to be with everybody.
So
and
Nicole says it was healing.
we truly felt close to Gabby that day.
It made him feel closer to Gabby that day.
I have a photograph.
There's the photo.
Huge
There's
orb in the middle. I don't know if people believe in that, but there's an orb there, and I know that Gabby was there with us.
Ray. She felt like Gabby was there with him. It's so cool at the end. Her mom's gonna say Gabby. She hears Gabby's voice saying,
Lost Gabby.
"Cut it out.
Many other
I'm
people
okay."
have been saved because of her.
Yeah, they talk about all the other people that were saved because
we
of
get
Gabby's
messages
case.
saying, "Hey, Gabby's story is what made me leave my boyfriend.
It helped
I
a
got
lot of
help,
people.
and I'm doing what I can."
And Rose
it is beautiful and heartwarming.
Rose is going to talk about her own abusive relationship she left. Here's the
We
foundation.
wanted to bring attention to the dangers and the signs of domestic violence.
Bringing attention to
more
the
awareness,
dangers of DV.
prevention,
awareness.
That they're looking for help, and they say, "All right, I'm going to go to the Gabby Petito website, the foundation page. What do I do? I need help." And there is a literal help button on that page.
So
you
there's
can
a
click
help
on it, and it
button.
will guide you to the right resources.
A literal help button on Gabby's Petito's foundation page. It's good. That can help no matter
This
your
story
age.
is unique,
gender.
But I will tell you,
this is where she's going to cry.
There are so many other people out there missing, and
I like that she gets emotional, and she's saying it's a lot of people out there missing. They are important too. So I don't know what's making her cry.
My work is important.
Her work is important. It's good. She's saying this is a unique
lives
case.
are important.
And other lives are important too. And by focusing on Gabby, people aren't saying other people's lives aren't
Still
important.
looking for their
They're
missing
talking about
loved
many
ones.
people looking for missing
that
loved ones.
Heartbreaking.
And it's heartbreaking.
Petito's story has renewed debate about which cases get
This is
attention
when they
and
get
the
into
media's
the missing
seeming
white woman
infatuation with
syndrome.
missing white women.
Imagine the men, women, and children in the community where Gabby Petito went missing, who know that for the last 10 years, more than 700 indigenous people have gone missing, and nobody has said a word. And one missing white woman turns up in their backyard, and the world pays attention.
First, Joe.
When I heard that, my initial reaction wasn't a positive one. Saying Gabby's color was the reason, I was taken back by that.
This isn't saying that Gabby Petito is not important. What it is saying is that there's an overrepresentation in media when white women go missing, and an underrepresentation in media when black, brown, and indigenous women go missing. So for
Then I started to look into it.
So Joe started researching it.
89,000 active missing person cases at the end of last year, and 45% of those were people of color. And only a fraction of those cases were even covered on the news.
the media is very powerful. When everybody knows their face, it makes a real difference.
Domestic violence bill is sailing through the Capitol with huge support, including the backing of Gabby Petito's parents.
You should not fear the ones you love. Petito's parents on Utah's Capitol Hill speaking out in favor of Senate Bill 117, a bill that would require police to ask 11 questions to determine if an intimate partner is at risk of being hurt or killed.
Police ask
This
11
lethality
questions.
assessment, which I've immersed myself in over the last couple of
They
weeks,
were doing such a great job.
had been used. And I know in Gabby's case, if it had been used, I believe she would still be here today.
does. It turns them into activists instead of just, they didn't go away in their grief. And they turned around, all of Gabby's parents started helping others. Joe Petito, he's so active on
It's
X.
so hard for
if you
us
can
to
follow
realize
him, bringing attention to
Gabby's
so
gone,
many
she's not
missing
with
people's
us.
cases. These are beautiful.
Well, I could only hope that we've made her proud and she's looking down on us and saying, thank you for being my voice when I couldn't speak anymore.
Oh, that's hard. I'm thinking of Gabby in heaven and how she couldn't speak out.
Every time I get upset about missing her, I hear her voice in my head say, Mom, I'm fine, stop.
Mom, I'm fine, stop. I like that. Like Gabby speaking from heaven to her mom. Like, don't get upset.
She just wants me to just have fun and live life.
She wants her to just move
it's a really
forward,
important
I guess.
message.
Have fun, live life. This happened at
Right
Gabby.
before I met Gabby, I was in a abusive relationship.
Rose talks about her
Gabby was the one that convinced me I deserved more.
Gabby was the one who
choosing
convinced
to live my
Rose
life because it's what Gabby would want me to do.
that she deserved more. And I was
I think
like,
I'm doing good.
And
I think she'd
Gabby
be proud.
eventually realized that for herself, and I think that's why she was trying to leave.
Gabby really loved life.
She loved
Biggest, fearless life you could live.
She did. She was so young and traveled
And
so
I was
much.
so proud of her.
Had such big dreams.
She's inspired us to be better every day.
She's a great content creator. Oh, this is the part they're going to play this song, and I'll try and talk louder so I can talk over this song, but it's so beautiful. I guess it says August 29th, Gabby launched her van life YouTube channel and published her first and only video. I'm going to bring this closer so I can bring it down, and hopefully it won't get. And it says it had less than 500 views. Today's Gabby's video has over 7 million views. And that's going to be it. So it's beautiful. It's like, take my hand, we'll disappear. So she's frolicking. She just had beautiful style and clothing too. And there's just the lyrics. And there's the van life, beginning our journey on her nomadic static. I'm sure that's, whoops. Could you try again? Siri must be thinking I'm talking to her. And that's it.
I'm not sure I understand.
Of course Siri doesn't understand because I'm not talking to you, Siri. Or whomever, whatever I just activated. So that's it. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Again, I'm going to have to lay some music down on this, and I had to keep it far back visually. I have to transform it enough to make it fair use, and I plan to still potentially on my larger channel do a consolidated review video of all 3 episodes now that I've watched all 3 episodes twice. So it gave me a good feel. I mean, that was even better than the Shanann Watts, I believe, American Murder, you know, because I like it when the families can get involved. Of course, there is the danger, like someone I spoke with this morning, there is the danger of when families are involved, there's the danger of making the victim this perfect angel and, of course, demonizing the perpetrator. I understand that. We all want a fair and balanced view of everything. But in this instance, I think Brian pretty much demonized himself. And, of course, I'm sure Gabby had some faults, but I think people are misinterpreting the way she reacted. I believe there was reactionary abuse, potentially. And I'm not saying men can't be abused. Of course, men can be abused. But some people, it's way too black and white. I mean, I can't believe some of the comments I've read, like on Facebook and stuff. I mean, most people thankfully don't feel this way, but it's weird how some people are like, oh, Gabby really was the true abuser and all that. I think what happened potentially was, you know, like the witness saw, the man said, I see this man, he was looking at Brian, slapping the woman. And someone is like on Facebook, oh, that's been debunked. And I'm like, where? I don't see where that was debunked. We hear the 911 call, we hear the witness statement. That's what he said he saw. But I think people have been through abusive relationships, as I have in my past, my first marriage. People know that there is reactionary abuse. Like if Brian was slapping Gabby, let's say, and then she turned around and her, you know, even the way she does it in the video, her little weak punch, she's probably like, oh, and the abuser can use that as a reason to be like, you know, attack back. So there is such a thing as reactionary abuse when a victim is fed up and might try and fight back. I don't know what really happened, so I cannot say. But there was a lot going on there. Obviously, I wish Gabby could have stayed with Jackson. I don't even know why they didn't stay together. If she felt safe enough to contact him when she felt like she was in danger, obviously she felt safe with him. I mean, Jackson's like, I've never seen Gabby that upset before. And they were young, and who knows why they broke up. But she was trying to cry out. And some people too, I've seen comments where people are like, why didn't Gabby tell her parents? Why didn't she tell her parents, look, I'm in danger, Brian hit me, or Brian did whatever? And I understand it where people are saying, well, Gabby probably knew her mom and especially her dad would be like, you get home now. And maybe she felt like, oh, that would be like a failure. You know, when you're 22 and you're trying to break away from your parents, you're trying to be independent. Obviously, she worked 50 hours at Taco Bell. We learned in the first episode. Brian was getting all jealous. She was trying to hang out with Rose. She was finding her independence. Some people just look at her so harshly. You know, it's rare, random comments, and I'm trying to be fair and see all sides. But some people are like, oh, she used Brian. You know, she took him on this trip, and she just used Brian. She took him away on this trip, and she was just doing it, and then she ended up breaking up with him. Well, you know what? I'm sure if Brian would have treated Gabby better, she likely would have stayed with him. She likely would have gone on to marry him and potentially have children with him. It seems like she really did love him. And she was reaching out, and I'm sure she wanted her van life. She wanted to be this YouTube creator she is now and beyond. She's surpassed that goal. She was great. I mean, look at all that footage. Look at all that editing. What about that part? It was in episode 1. I could totally relate when Gabby was like, you know, of course, Brian's complaining about all the work she does because this video editing takes a tremendous amount of time people don't realize. The creation, the editing, that's why I'm not editing this sucker. Well, you know what? I have to edit this because I have to put music. There's so many things that go on behind the scenes. Gabby said to Brian, well, it would help if you knew iMovie. I mean, I could totally relate. So you could do some video editing. I could totally relate to her because he's up there complaining. You know, he just wants to like play his guitar, I guess, and sit on his hammock and, you know, oh, don't drink out of any plastic, you know, just drink out of cantaloupe shells and be barefoot all over the place. Yeah, but Gabby was putting in the work. She realized, okay, a YouTube career could end up paying for this van life journey. So it seems like an inordinate amount of work was placed on her. She's the one with the drones, putting it up, and she's taking the footage. She obviously is doing the editing. That can take entire days. I mean, it can take 12-hour or more days to just create this. Like, you can watch an hour video that has taken someone an entire week to create. So people who don't do it don't understand. But Brian had the nerve to be complaining to her like, oh, like that little vlog isn't gonna work. You know, he was just downgrading her. And I don't know what my point was, but obviously this whole documentary's got me in my feels. Thank God in Jesus I got through it without crying. I'm glad I watched episodes 2 and 3 last night at home in my bedroom. So I want to do a comprehensive video about it all. I need to finish my iced energy so I can go get on the treadmill. It was great. So I wanted to go through these raw videos with you, add the audio I need to add, transform it, all this commentary, make it fair use. And again, the body cam footage that took so long for me to get. Originally, we got those 2 male cops body cam videos, but Melissa Hull's, the woman's, it's like it's blurrier and it's the audio's worse. It took me so long to get that from the park ranger. What is it? The national park, whatever. It took so long and I finally got it. So I'll link to that below because Gabby opened up to her a little bit more. So I think that's it. I think they did an excellent job. Again, like they say, you run the risk of, yeah, Gabby's the angel, Brian's the devil. I get it. You don't want things to be out of balance. But if anything, you could say Gabby was extra hopeful. She was young, like we all were, immature in the ways of love, not in the ways of wisdom. I've been there. You know, you meet a guy and you're like, okay, he's the guy, and then you kind of let life take you, just like my ex. You know, it's like just proposing to me. It's like, okay, you know, proposing without a ring, the same thing. I got a ring later, but it's like an afterthought. And it was like me being immature enough to not understand that I shouldn't have gone there. But thank God I escaped with my life. I got out. I didn't. But with Brian and Gabby likely didn't know, you know, whatever came to a head after the Mary Piglets, and, you know, her not obviously feeling sick, the chicken or whatever making her sick, the constant arguing and friction with Brian, that probably makes you sick too. And they go up there, they go to Spread Creek, they're alone, they're probably arguing, and it comes to a point where you're like, this is enough. Like, we're not supposed to be arguing this much. Of course, normal relationships will have disagreements. I'm not saying that. But when it's that constant arguing, and it depends on how, you know, if he's calling her names, because before she said he was calling her names. Gabby said, you know, he was getting on her for hanging out with lowlifes at Taco Bell. And Brian was calling her mom. You know, that's so weird. Like, Gabby's hanging out with lowlifes at Taco Bell. And it's weird how her mom, Gabby's mom, even believed Brian at first. See, because that's what the charming narcissist can do. So initially, Nicole thought, oh, he's being helpful. He's worried about Gabby. She's hanging out with all these people. But eventually, over time, the true evil reveals itself. And so, unfortunately, Gabby's fatal mistake, and again, when I say stuff like this, I am not saying it is her fault in any way. Whew, what is that? Oh, I didn't even realize the police were behind me. Look at that. Oh, animal control, parking compliance. I should check my surroundings, apparently. So anyway, Gabby's fatal mistake, and again, I'm not victim blaming her or anything, but her fatal mistake was she likely potentially told Brian maybe what she told her mom. I can make more money as a solo van lifer anyway, you know? And she might have, and her mom was like, oh, are you guys breaking up? And that's when she didn't tell her mom everything. And this is what people were like, yeah, she probably didn't want to tell her mom. There goes the animal control guy, and now he's walking back and forth. Okay. Anyway, she probably didn't want to tell her mom everything, or her dad, because she didn't want to be summoned back home and looked at as a failure. But she probably told Brian, yeah, we're breaking up. Maybe she told him. Maybe she was like, I'm leaving you. This is it. And she was probably hoping she could break up amicably, maybe like she did with Jackson. Whatever happened with Jackson, they decided to go their separate ways. Obviously, Jackson did not harm Gabby. So she was probably thinking, oh, I'm kind of scared to do this. And she didn't know, like many people don't know, whatever proper steps, what's a person going to say? How are they going to react? She probably had no idea Brian would lose his crap and do what he did to her. And that part is so horrible. It probably took place in the van, I might assume, or if no one was around them in that Spread Creek area, were they sitting by a fire, whatever. And then she was hoping they could manage a good breakup, a conscious uncoupling, because obviously if they were talking about the van, even though the van was in Gabby's name, maybe she put the most money into it, but Brian did put time into it. You know, there's those videos of him working on it too. So maybe Brian felt so invested in that van. And so that's why the conversation was, well, you know, we can split up and I can give you money for the van or whatever. And so that took place. But Brian probably felt so possessive over the van and even more possessive over Gabby. I mean, he literally drove that van back home. And then for him to be so manipulative, for him to do what he did, maybe it took place in the van, maybe it took place outside of the van. And then for him to take her body, you know, with her hoodie up and her boots off. Like, why would he take her boots off or whatever? I mean, was he hoping that would make the animals attack her, or did she not have her boots on, and did he carry her and her boots over to that place and put her on her left side and in the fetal position and her hood up and just leave her out there so he could pretend like he came up with later, oh, you know, she fell, she begged me to put her out of her misery, which makes no sense at all, because obviously if Gabby had fallen, he would have picked her up, carried her back to the van, wherever. If they had no service, he could have driven somewhere until he could get help. So it makes no sense that, oh, Gabby fell and she was begging me to put her out of her misery between her groans of pain. Like, he's trying to be so poetic in an evil way. Oh, just makes me angry. But I think that's where I'm going to end this, and we'll see if I end up creating another comprehensive video. But again, very well done. Excellent documentary series. I wish all of them could be done in this way that includes the families and includes the footage and includes the insights. So I think I'm going to end it there. Thank you for watching all of this.